My name is Rebecca Maddy, and I'm here today to speak to each and every one of you about an extremely important problem. This issue is progressing with time, and it's only beginning to worsen. This is the exploitation of water. It's caused by us humans, and it's a natural phenomenon. Whether we want to accept it or not, we are all pushing this issue away and disregarding it. But it's time something is done. I put together this video which discusses what water scarcity is, its effects, and how we can solve it today. Enjoy.
Fresh water is a necessity to each and every one of our lives. Uses of fresh water include agricultural, industrial, household, recreational, and environmental activities. Water is used for growing crops, building dams, household needs, and is the home of many species today. We are extremely dependent on water without even realizing it. Water is vital to life.
It's easy to take water for granted if you live in the economically developed world. Open the tap or run the sprinkler and you believe to have an unlimited supply of clean, fresh water. However, this is not the case for all over the world. The demand for water is becoming extremely high, and we unfortunately do not have enough to meet all of the needs. This is called water scarcity, one of the biggest issues today.
While water covers 70% of the Earth's surface, only a small amount is suitable for consumption. 97.5% of our world's waters is salt water, while a small percent of 2.5% is fresh water. However, 68.9% of that water is locked in glaciers, unable to be used, while 30.08% is groundwater and 0.3% is found in lakes and rivers. This small percent needs to be enough for all 7 billion of us today.
Overexploitation of water is beginning to cause many drastic effects today. About half of the world's wetlands have been destroyed since 1900. Some of the most productive habitats on the planet have a large amount of animals, including mammals, birds, fish, etc. Therefore, water scarcity jeopardizes the homes of many species who today depend on fresh water. It also promotes algae growth, which kill the species living in that area of water. This also highly affects the animals that drink from this water, while also affecting farmers and fishers as well. When water becomes scarce, natural landscapes lose out. The Aral Sea in Central Asia was once one of the world's 4th largest freshwater lakes. But in only 3 decades, the sea has lost an area the size of Lake Michigan. It's now as salty as an ocean due to the excessive pollution. This resulted in a decrease in life for the nearby population and also created many food shortages. Many other major rivers have run dry, such as the Colorado, Indus Rio Grande, etc. They are so overtapped that they now run dry for part of the year. Freshwater wetlands have shrunk by about half worldwide.
Water affects the economy of a country in many respects. From an economic perspective, water is an input that is needed directly or indirectly for the production of most goods and services. Water is needed for irrigation in agriculture, serves as a coolant in power stations, and is used for cleaning purposes in the chemical industry. Water plays a huge role in the world's economy. Also, as water becomes more and more scarce, the price of water may increase drastically. Without having enough water, people do not have the means of watering their crops and cannot provide food for the fast-growing population. Everything is affected, and when one fails, so did the rest. Water and sanitation go hand in hand. According to the World Health Organization, 80% of all world sickness is attributable to unsafe water, inadequate sanitation, and poor hygiene. The economic impact of poor sanitation is shocking. The most recent report by Water and Sanitation Program in 2006 revealed that the impact of poor sanitation in Indonesia costed $6.3 billion.
Population growing and growing, and our water being more and more overexploited, people predict that by 2025, 2/3 of the world's population may be facing water shortages. When waters run dry, people can't get enough to drink, wash, and feed crops. By 1990, 1.2 billion people could not drink water without being menaced by severe diseases. At each 8 seconds, a child dies because of a disease transmitted through the infected water. In developing countries, 80% of the diseases are spread through the consumption of infected water. Pathogens transmitted through water kill annually 25 million people. Still, in 1993, 400,000 people from Milwaukee got sick by consuming tap water contaminated with a microbe resistant to chlorine. In the same year, in the sewage system of Washington, New York, and Kabul, dangerous microbes were found, a fact that determined people to boil the tap water. By 2025, 1.8 billion people will be living in countries or regions with absolute water scarcity.
Water scarcity is a huge problem today. It already affects every continent. Around 1.2 billion people, or almost 1/5 of the world's population, live in areas of physical scarcity, and 500 million people are approaching this situation. Water scarcity is both a natural and human-made phenomenon. There is enough fresh water on the planet for 6 billion people, but it is distributed unevenly and too much of it is wasted, polluted, and unsustainably managed. Something must be done, because things like this are no longer acceptable.
These women walk 3 miles a day to collect river water outside of Adi Nafas, Ethiopia. They spend hours scooping contaminated water from hand-dug ditches.
Enormity of the problem, availability of solutions, a real chance to bring attention to it and to actually have a pretty big impact. In a number of different countries who are impacted by the water crisis, we're aware of the dangers of drinking that water, but they just didn't have a choice.
Americans think of water as we do the air, infinite and inexhaustible, when for all practical purposes it's very finite and very exhaustible.
An individual can make the difference.
Being depleted is being wasted in ways that we can't ever get back.
When you take a look at the longer trend of things, you're going to have huge water shortages.
Now the question is, how can you help?
We pledge not to go to the bathroom
until everyone in the whole world
has access to clean water and sanitation.
It's not as easy as it sounds.
It really doesn't have to be that difficult.
The task of conserving water can be conquered on a smaller scale, beginning with small improvements in individual homes. Things like turning off the water while brushing your teeth and don't buy unnecessary goods since production uses water can be extremely helpful. Install a water-saving shower head. Older heads use 5 to 10 gallons per minute. All new fixtures use approximately 2.5 GPM and offer equal water coverage and force. You can also install water-saving toilets that use no more than 6 liters of water per flush. You should also only wash full loads of clothing and hand wash single garments.
There are so many more solutions to help solve water scarcity, but it cannot be done alone. Everyone needs to take part in these among many other solutions and reduce their water footprint. Something must be done.
I hope each and every one of you really learned something from that documentary on water scarcity. Hopefully, you'll all now realize how big of an issue this is today and what our world will soon become if we do not take action. It is our responsibility to make this planet a better place for not only ourselves, but for future generations as well. So please, even doing the smallest thing can make a difference, but we all have to try. Thank you.